Wanda with Jimmy Branch Homestead, and today I'm going to be making venison dog food. And there are several different websites that you can go to online to help develop yourself some healthy recipes. This is one that I got, and so I'm going to be making, like I said, venison dog food. So I'm going to be making a double batch today. If you have a smaller dog or you don't want to make as much, by all means you can cut it in half. But what the measurements I'm giving today are going to be for a double batch. So I'm going to start off here with 1 pound of ground venison. And we're going to just kind of break that up, and then we're going to go ahead and fry it up. We're not adding anything to the meat. We're just going to cook it and have it crumbled up. Okay, well the pan's heating up in and that's getting going. In this other pot over here, I have 4 cups of water. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. And I have 2.5 cups of oatmeal. So I'm going to wait for that water to come to a boil, and then I'm going to add the oatmeal. This recipe does call for some salt. 1 teaspoon of Morton iodized salt. Cat, get out of the way. So instead of I'm just going to put it in with the oatmeal instead of mixing it all together with everything else. So that's 1 teaspoon, per batch. So I'm making 2 batches. So that'll be 2 teaspoons of Morton iodized salt. Kitty, out of the way. Miss Princess. Oh, you smell all that goodies going on, don't you? Now, at the same time I have all that going, I'm going to take 1 cup liquid measure of eggs, and that's about 5 or 6, and pour it in a pan here, and I'm going to get those scrambled up. Go ahead and get those broke apart. Oops, guess you can't see that. There we go. So there's going to be lots of good protein in this dog food. Now I have some more chopping to do, but I'm probably going to have to just go ahead and get this cooked up because I can't watch too many things at once. Oh, and this other pot over here, I have measured out 7 cups of diced white potatoes. And I'm going to, so for a single batch it'd be 3.5 cups, but because I'm doing double, it's 7. And I did have them sitting in cold water to keep them from browning. And then I drained that off to measure them. Okay. Now we're going to just cover those with water. So I want to cover the potatoes. Oops, I spilled that. Looks like it's going to pretty well do it. And then as soon as the eggs or the oatmeal or something's done cooking here, I'll go ahead and get that going. Oops. My eggs got forgotten for a minute here, or neglected. If it's easier to do just one part of it at a time before you assemble everything, that's fine too. Whatever's easiest for you. For those of you that have been watching our channel, you know our dog Tippy has allergies and he's been losing a lot of his hair and really itching and stuff. And I've been doing a lot of research, and I've had a lot of people say that I don't know what they've changed in the dog food, but many of the dog foods are basically poisoning their dogs, and many of them actually have died. Some of them caught them before it got too late, took them off the dog food and gave them a healthier homemade diet, and they came right out of it. So we are going to do this in hopes that we can get Tippy healthy again. Dog's gonna eat as good as we do. Our dogs are our family members, and you know, we really care about them. Okay, those eggs are almost done there. I'm going to go ahead and pull them off the heat and put the potatoes on the heat. All right. We'll just let those eggs sit back there and cool off. And work on our burger some more. I took out 2 pounds of hamburger. I was going to make it up today, and I didn't have enough potatoes to do the other 2 batches. So I'll have to look at some other recipes and check back, because I plan on posting several different dog food recipes. So one of the things my husband and I have talked about, Wade, is we'll have to raise more chickens and rabbits this year so we can help Tippy to have his protein that way, because I definitely don't want to have to be buying meat to feed the dog. It still costs us, of course, because we're having to feed all them animals. Okay, this is done, so I'm just going to turn it off there. And then we'll continue to kind of chop it up a little bit finer. My water just started boiling for the oatmeal. So I'm going to go ahead and get that in. And then once all this stuff is cooked, I'm just going to let it cool down. Now, the potatoes, I do not want to overcook them. So once they start boiling, I'm only going to boil them 2 to 3 minutes, because they are, I used the small dicer, so they're diced pretty small. And I don't want them to turn to mush in the dog food. Okay. My oatmeal is boiling, so we're going to time that for 5 minutes. And it doesn't matter what kind of oatmeal you use. We always like the rolled oats or the old-fashioned, you know, the whole oats, not the quick oats. But you can use quick oats and then just you know, use the water ratio to that that's recommended. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that oatmeal down a little bit. Go ahead and put the eggs in with the meat. Yeah, I overcooked that. It's stuck on the bottom. That's not good. We have chicken, so it's nice that I can kind of reuse some of those also. We have laying hens and we also raise meat birds. Some of those chunks of egg were still a little big, so we're just going to knock those down a bit. I'm actually going to just move the potatoes here. I keep moving them all over, I know. But that way I can turn that burner off and just leave this. Which one's the back? This one. Sit to the back. The oatmeal needs to go low. That's one thing about gas. You always have higher heat than on electric, no matter what setting you have. Okay, so the eggs and the burger is done. The potatoes are on. The oatmeal will be done in 3 minutes. I've also peeled, sliced, and diced 2 medium-sized apples. And I currently have them soaking in water so that they don't brown, because we're not ready to mix those in yet. Okay, I have to go get some more ingredients and I'll be back with you in a moment. Okay, so my oatmeal is finished. And again, I am just going to turn the burner off, give it a quick stir, and then just let it sit and cool off. The potatoes still are not boiling, so I will finish getting the rest of my ingredients together. Okay. So my meat and eggs are pretty well cooled, and my oatmeal is warm, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and get that mixed in. And as I'm adding, I'm going to end up having to move this to a big bowl, because this pan's not going to hold it all. So here I have 1 cup of shredded carrots and 1 cup of frozen peas. So a single batch would be a half a cup of each of those. And a half a cup of diced red bell peppers. And the reason we say red is it has a lot more vitamins in it and nutrients. There's a pea that flew out. Okay, the other thing I want to mix in while I have some warm stuff here is some diced squash, chunked squash. The recipe called for 1 1/4 cups of raw celery. I thought I had celery. I'm out. So I'm replacing it with squash. I thought I had broccoli. It's freezer burnt, so I wouldn't even feed it to the dog. So this is a little bit different what I'm putting in here. In the description box below, I will put the actual recipe. But again, it would be 3/4 cup of raw broccoli or frozen, and 1 1/4 cup of chopped celery, and those are for single batches. So you would double that if you're doing a double batch like me. Okay. Now, one of the things that we need to add to this is canola. Dogs need essential oils. And so this is 10 ounces, which is a double batch. So for a single batch, it would be 5. Okay. I'm going to turn this back on medium heat and try and thaw out that squash so I can mix it together. Okay, we're going to see if my bowl is big enough to mix all this. I'm going to have to pick that up off the counter. I think it might be. Fell out, and an egg fell out. Okay, and then I still needed to add the diced potatoes. They are cooked. Oops. And I need to drain my apples. I think I need a giant metal bowl. And the other thing I have here is 5 cups of fresh uncooked spinach, and we're going to just mix that all in. Yep, I needed my biggest bowl. Let me go back and find it. And I just kind of chop that up a little bit. So for a single batch, that would have been 2 1/2 cups of spinach. And that's just my squash popping a little bit, trying to get thawed out here. Okay. So this is my absolute biggest bowl. It is 32 cups. My. And it still fills it up. Oh boy. So This is going to take me a little bit to stir up. Let's see if I can bring it in closer now that I have most of that. And then what I will do when I get this mixed up really good, after my veggies get thawed out here, my squash, and get that added, I will store this in vacuum sealed bags, and some in my refrigerator and a lot in my freezer. But we're not quite done. I have one more item to add to this besides the squash. I wanted to try and get it pretty well mixed together first. Wow. That's a lot of dog food for the Tippy dog. I like to mix big batches like this, and then I will make a different flavor like chicken. And I have a few different recipes, so let me wash my hands and get the other item that we're going to do, and I'll be back with you. Okay, so the last ingredient that I am adding is Super Gravy Paw Jus, and I get this from Azure Standard. It is a food topper and supplement for dogs. It is made of a lot of superfoods. This one contains beef liver, dried veggies, kelp, and chia seeds, in addition to some other vitamins and such. And I am going to use 1.5 cups of water and 3 scoops of the powder. If I can get it to come out of there, it's all packed in there. Smells like beef liver. And it comes in a resealable bag. So this pouch will do 30 servings, or 30, and so I've used 3 here. And I'm just going to use the whisk to kind of whisk it together and make it into a little gravy. Let's see if I can get this powder up here. And then we're going to dump it over and mix it in with the entire bowl here. Between that and the oil, it is going to make it a little juicy on it. And I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes mixing it together again really good. You know this has got to be much, much more healthy for them than that dog food that we buy. If your dog has never eaten people food before, you might want to try implementing half dog food and half of the new food to make sure their stomach can handle it and gets used to it. But with these biodigestibles and probiotics and all that good stuff, this is going to be so much better for them. Okay, I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so let me read you the recipe that I used for the venison dinner. Okay, so this is what I'm going to read you is for one batch. I did a double batch. So 8 ounces of ground venison, 4 ounces of whole egg, and that's in the measuring cup, the raw egg before you scramble it. 5.5 ounces of canola, 1 1/4 cups of oats, plus 2 cups of water to cook it in, 3.5 cups of diced white potatoes, 1 1/4 cups of sliced or diced apple with the peel on, 1/4 cup diced red bell pepper, 3/4 cup broccoli. I didn't have the broccoli, so I had to do some other stuff, but this is the recipe. 1/2 cup grated carrots, raw. 1 1/4 cups of chopped celery, raw. 1/2 cup of fresh or frozen peas, raw. And 2 1/4 cups of spinach, also raw. So you cook the venison and the eggs, crumble it up, cook the oats and mix that in with it. Barely cook the white potatoes because they are small diced and so they cook very quickly. Mix that up with it, and then you add all the raw vegetables and fruits in with that and mix that up. And then to that, to complete the nutrition, I use the Super Gravy Paw Jus that gives him a 3-way digestive health, probiotics, prebiotics, and enzymes with extra nutrition with the beef liver, dried veggies, kelp, and chia seeds. So what that made, remember I did a double batch, so it made Tippy 6 3-cup meals and Eddie 4 1/2 cup meals. Now Eddie's a little chihuahua, so he doesn't eat very much. And Tippy weighs 85 pounds, so he eats a lot. So if you're enjoying this type of video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and share our videos on your social media. It's the best way you can help our channel to grow. Thank you so much for watching Jimmy Branch Homestead. Take care and God bless. And watch for more videos on how to make other kinds of dog food.